Woo! What's going on, guys? Orms Forum coming at you with the late video. This is the aftermath. I thought I uploaded this on Saturday. I know the game was Thursday. I couldn't get to it Friday. I thought I uploaded this Saturday. I didn't really check my YouTube too much the past few days, and I went and checked it today, and it wasn't there. And then I looked to see what my uploads were going on, and it was still uploading, and it just did not pass through. So we're doing it again, guys. This is a super late video. Aftermath week 14. Cowboys at Detroit Lions. The Cowboys falling to 6-1, second place in the NFC East. Lions going up to 8-5, still third place in the NFC North. Now the Packers are in first place now. Bears in second. You know, lots of stuff going on. 4 games left. But the Lions did win this game 30-44. I think they pretty much handled this game pretty good. You know, a little bit of a scare by the end of this game. Dallas made it a little bit closer than, Jahmyr Gibbs. But the Lions went by double-digit points. Not much defense being played, but, on both sides. But the Lions made some key stops. Got to the quarterback. Couple turnovers, three turnovers altogether. Couple picks and a forced fumble by Jack Campbell. So the Cowboys' hopes for the playoffs are diminishing. They're not totally gone yet, but they're pretty bleak, while the Lions still hold on to hope by winning on Thursday night. So 4 games, they're 8-5. This team has to pretty much, I would say, win out. 11 wins might not even get you in the playoffs. If they can win the next 3 out of 4, that might not even be enough, which is crazy to think. The NFC is it's loaded, guys. It's loaded. 11 wins will be close to getting you in. We got 2 really, really tough games coming up. The Rams, Steelers. The Steelers are kind of a little bit, up and down. They have 7-8 wins, though. The Vikings, McCarthy's back. He beat us the first time. Handled us pretty good, McCarthy. He wasn't fantastic, but he had a couple touchdowns, touchdown run, and then we play the Bears, who we beat up in week 2, but they're a different Bears team. So I think we got 4 tough games. We got 4 tough games left, and we're gonna have to win at least 3 of them. It'd be nice to just do the clean sweep, but let's get to the injuries, guys. Wide receiver for Dallas Cowboys, wide receiver CeeDee Lamb had a concussion in the third quarter. He was tearing us apart at the time, with 6-7 catches, 120 yards. I went up for a ball in the end zone, tried to come down on a one-handed catch and landed on his head. It was concussed. He was gone in the third quarter. But he was slaying us. He was beating us up pretty good. In the Lions, we lost free safety Thomas Harper to a concussion. Then we lost Brian Branch, a strong safety to an Achilles tendon. Done for the year. Out. Gone. Both our starting safeties are done. Hopefully Kirby can come back this week. I don't know what's going on with that. He practiced a little bit last week. I don't really know what's going on with him practicing this week so far. I didn't really look at the injury report just yet. But that will be out, today, tomorrow, Wednesday. And we'll get a good feel probably by Thursday if he's going to go. So, we're signing all kinds of guys. They signed DB DeMonte Kazi, 32 years old. He was a 5th-round pick in 2017 by the Atlanta Falcons. Played for the Cowboys, played for the Steelers, Browns. Now he's a Detroit Lion. Played for the Browns actually in 2025, and then they released him. And he was sitting on the couch waiting to get picked up. He's a smaller corner, DB, corner turned safety actually. Big hitter, plays, he's small but plays big. A little bit of a ball hawk back in the day, 2018. He had 7 interceptions. He's had a few picks each season that he's been in. Last year, I don't think he had any, though. He's kind of slowed down a little bit. He's kind of a little bit the same style as Brian Branch. If you go look at some of his highlights, and, it's hard to gauge on a player. That's just highlights. But if you go gauge on a guy, but if you go look at his highlights, he's a big hitter. For 178 pounds, he hits like a truck. He does. A lot of his hits are malicious, which is going to get flagged. So if they're going to get a Brian Branch, they got a Brian Branch. He kind of models his game. I don't think he's as good as Brian Branch, but he's a guy. Okay, he's a guy that was on the couch in December for a reason. He's nothing. He's not going to come in here and change the dynamic of this football team. Justin Simmons is out there still, the All-Pro safety. Why they don't go get him, I don't know. But there's a reason why he's on the couch as well too. He's 32 years old. Justin Simmons, he's an All-Pro, Pro Bowler. He slowed down a little bit. I think his productions. He can get to the ball. He's a big-time hitter too as well. He's a ball hawk. I don't know why he's still on the couch. Maybe he's overpricing himself. That's what I keep hearing and reading. So you take that for what it's worth. I don't really know. If I would have been Dan Campbell, I probably would have paid him. I probably would have gave him some money. You're not going to have to give him $10 million because he's asking for $10 to $14 million. And guys over 30 playing that position, they're not really going to get that kind of coin. So, but they wouldn't have to pay him that if they went and got him now. You give him $5 million probably, which would be fine. But who am I? I'm just a fan. I'm just a YouTuber. That's all I am. So, but they brought in DeMonte Casey. He's not Justin Simmons. Simmons is a better ball player, but Holmes isn't he's not gonna spend the money. But nobody else is spending money on him. So there's got to be a reason. I don't know what it is. Overpricing himself. He's on the wrong side of 30. He's not as good as he thinks he is anymore. Maybe that's what teams are thinking. But I would have gave him a little bit of cash to come here. I'm sure he would have took $3, $4, $5 million just to come and play for the next 5 games and hopefully the playoffs. We don't have anybody in the secondary now. Terry Arnold's done. Brian Branch is done. There's 2 more starters gone. Kirby Joseph is a coin flip. So for what it's worth, man, I don't know. But anyways, okay, they did that. They released a couple guys. I think they released a wide receiver, some Armstrong guy. They brought him back. They brought back defensive lineman Pat O'Connor. He's on a practice squad. But let's get to the stats, guys. Okay, passing. This is we're gonna do the Dallas Cowboys because they're the road team. Quarterback Dak Prescott, 31 for 47, 65.9% completion percentage. He did have a fumble, 376 yards, a touchdown. He was picked off twice. And he was sacked 5 times, so we'll talk about that. He had a pretty good game, I thought. Rushing, running back Javonte Williams, 17 carries for 67 yards, 3.9 yards a carry, 1 touchdown. Quarterback Dak Prescott had 3 carries for 14 yards, 4.7. They had 91 yards on the ground. I thought the Lions did a decent job stopping the run of the Cowboys. Javonte Williams kind of got a resurgence going in Dallas. Receiving, wide receiver CeeDee Lamb was 6 catches, 121 yards, 20.2 yards a catch on 8 targets. He was destroying us, like I said. Wide receiver Ryan Flournoy, second-year guy, 9 for 115 yards, 9 catches, 115 yards, 12.8 yards a catch. He had a touchdown and 13 targets. Tight end Jake Ferguson, 5 for 58, 11.6 yards a catch and 7 targets. He had a fumble and a fumble loss, and he has also a fumble recovery as well. Wide receiver George Pickens, 5 for 37, 7.4 yards a catch. He did have a fumble, but not a fumble lost. And this was a George Pickens kind of moment that he was doing when he was in Pittsburgh. He's a head case, George Pickens. He's a phenomenal football player. I think he's elite. He can be elite at times, but he really seemed disinterested in this football game. And then, Richard Sherman going off on him a little bit, calling him lazy, disinterested, saying all kinds of stuff. Then Pickens went off on Twitter, saying all kinds of dumb shit. And then, he erased it, I think, eventually. But it was out there. You can't erase stuff on Instagram or Twitter fast enough because people are going to screenshot it and immediately. That's what people's jobs are. But this was one of those Pickens moments. He's a head case. He didn't show up after Lamb went down, and he has played well when Lamb was up. Lamb's missed some time this year, and Pickens has done his job well. But this was one of those games where he just seemed disinterested. He was giving up on routes, dropped a couple balls. I think Amik Robertson was getting in his head a little bit. I really think he was, and I think the DBs in general were. And Pickens is easily bothered because mentally he's weak. He's a mentally weak kid. Physically, he's strong. He can do all kinds of things on the football field. But he's one of those guys who's a head case. He can just get under his skin fast. So that's what my guess was. And then offensive tackle Tyler Smith had a fumble recovery too. For the defense for the Cowboys, cornerback DeRon Bland, 7 tackles, tackle for loss. Linebacker DeMarvion Overshown, 7 tackles. Cornerback rookie Siobhan Ravel Jr., 6 tackles, a pass deflection. Defensive tackle Quinnen Williams, 4 tackles and a QB hit. They kept him in check pretty good, I thought. Guys like Miles Frazier, Tate Ratledge, who was starting at center? Was it Tristan Colon? No, it was Glasgow, right? Yeah, Glasgow played center. Pretty sure he did. Yeah. Then defensive end Donovan Ezier Uaku, 4 tackles, tackle for loss. Linebacker Shamar James, 4 tackles. Defensive tackle Sam Williams had 3. Defensive end Sam Williams had 3 tackles, quarterback hit. DT Kenny Clark, 3 tackles, quarterback hit. Defensive end James Houston, former Lion, 2 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 1 QB hit, and he had a sack. I think he had a sack on the first drive for the Lions. One of those moments, but then they kind of kept him in check a little bit too. Linebacker Maurice Lufo, 2 tackles, QB hit. Then defensive tackle Osa Odig Hezua, 1 tackle for loss, and 3 QB hits. So he had a decent game there. So they had a sack, 4 tackles for loss, 1 pass deflection, 8 quarterback hits on Goff. The defense didn't play well for Dallas. Giving up all those points, they did not play well. They did get in the backfield quite a bit. They did bang around Goff quite a bit, 8 hits, a lot of hurries, but Goff stood in there. He played a really good game, Goff, but they did bop him around a little bit. Kick returner wide receiver Kevontae Turpin had 7 kick returns for 176 yards on a 25.1 yard average. Punt return wide receiver Kevontae Turpin, he had 1 for no yards. And then kicker Brandon Aubrey was 5 for 5 in field goals. He had a 63 long. I think he hit a couple 50 pluses. He was 1 for 1 in extra points. He had 15 points alone in this game. This game would have been a blowout if it wasn't for Brandon Aubrey. That guy's got an absolute cannon for a leg. It's unbelievable how strong his leg is. He kicks 63 yarders like they're 30 yarders. Just easy motion through the uprights, high through the uprights. It looks like you can hit it for 80. It's just, he has an amazing leg. Then punter Brian Anger had 1 punt for 62 yards. It was a bomb. Now the Lions passing, quarterback Jared Goff, like I said, had a nice game, 25 for 34, 73.5% completion percentage, 309 yards, had a touchdown. He was only sacked once. I thought the O-line did a pretty decent job against that defensive line. Even though they did hit Goff quite a bit in this game, they only got him on the ground 1 time as a sack. Then rushing, running back David Montgomery, 6 for 60. He had 10 yards of carry. He was looking good. He had a touchdown too on some wildcat around the goal line. And then running back Jahmyr Gibbs. No, it wasn't a wildcat. Sorry, that was last week, I believe. He had a nice 30-something yard or 20-something yard run, breaking a couple tackles. Sorry, against the Cowboys, which was a nice one. Running back Jahmyr Gibbs, 12 carries for 43 yards, 3.6 yards a carry, but he got 3 touchdowns, got in the end zone. Guy's just a touchdown machine, broke like Barry Sanders' record for most touchdowns for a guy under 20 before he hits his 24th birthday, I believe it was. And Barry was in the house too, so that's just incredible, man, that he's already caught Barry and surpassed him. Nuts. But they had 109 yards on the ground, so they look good. They look pretty good on the ground, the Lions. Then even quarterback Malik Cunningham got in. He had a carry for 1 yard. Goff was -2. J-Mo did have a 7-yard rush on a sweep on our end around, whatever you want to call it. Receiving wide receiver Jameson Williams had a nice game again. 7 catches, 96 yards, 13.7 yards a catch. Targeted 9 times. Stepped up again. Wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown, who probably wasn't supposed to play. There was out there reports that he was going to be out 2 to 3 weeks. He gutted it out. 6 catches for 92 yards. Had a massive catch late in that game too as well for a big gain. 15.3 yards a catch. 9 targets. Running back Jahmyr Gibbs, massive day too, catching the ball. 7 catches, 77 yards on 11 yards a pop. 7 targets, caught all 7 of his passes. Then wide receiver, rookie Isaac Tesla, 2 for 20, 10 yards a catch. He had a touchdown as well, 3 targets. And then guys like Montgomery, Fursker, and Dwelly, the 2 tight ends, 1 catch each. 7 different receivers Goff used. So, Dan Campbell utilized the weapons pretty good in this football game and used 7 different players to catch the ball. It wasn't just one-dimensional where you see Amon-Ra and Jahmyr Gibbs just doing all the work. It was all kinds of guys doing work, so which is what you want to see. Now the defense, linebacker Jack Campbell, 12 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 1 QB hit, 1 forced fumble. He had a sack. He is having an all-pro year. There's no reason, if this guy's not in the Pro Bowl or he's not an all-pro, it's absolutely criminal. He is having a phenomenal football year so far. He's going berserk this year, Jack Campbell. Cornerback DJ Reed, 8 tackles, 2 pass deflections. He had an interception as well. DB Avante Maddox, who had to step in when Branch went down, 8 tackles, pass deflection. He had a forced fumble. Linebacker Alex Anzalone, 7 tackles, 3 pass deflections. He had a pretty decent day covering. Strong safety Brian Branch, 6 tackles, pass deflection, QB hit. He did have a fumble recovery. Cornerback Amik Robinson, 5 tackles, 1 pass deflection. Cornerback Rock Yassin, 4 tackles. Defensive end Al Quadda Muhammad, 3 tackles for loss, 4 QB hits, and 3 sacks. We've been calling him out for a few weeks now. He disappeared for a month. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, it's because that Kelvin Shepard, was using Aleem McNeil at the defensive end spot. I get that, but Muhammad was still getting snaps, but it kind of looked like that experiment might be over with Aleem McNeil. I thought it was ridiculous to begin with. I didn't understand why they were doing it. Muhammad should be out there more. I know maybe some of his snaps were getting limited for some reason. He is 30. He is 30 years old, but you got to get him out there, man, because, Hutch is kind of a little bit on the struggle bus, but I'm not going to say that Hutch is having a bad year. Guy broke his leg last year. He was getting in the backfield yesterday too. Had 3 tackles, QB hit, couple pressures. He missed a couple sacks. He's got to get home though. He does have to get home. He's getting paid the money. I know he's getting the pressures. He's getting the hurries. He's getting the hits. He's doing all that. He's causing chaos. He's changing the trajectory of the quarterback. Making him move around the pocket, making guys uncomfortable. The quarterback's uncomfortable, but he's got to get home. He does have to get home on most of these plays because he's missing a lot of sacks. He's missing a lot of sacks, but it's not just about sacks. I'm not going to be a casual and sit there and tell you, well, I'm not just going to gauge a player on sacks because that's what most of these morons do out there. That's what a lot of these guys do. Oh, he's got to get sacks. I get it. I agree to a point, but you can't just gauge sacks as the end-all, be-all. Yeah, man, we want our guys to get 15 to 20 sacks. We want guys to be Myles Garrett, but nobody is Myles Garrett. Nobody on this planet Earth is Myles Garrett. He's a special human being. He's a freak. He's an alien. Okay, but but Hutch is getting paid that money. He's getting paid top money. He needs to be a little bit better, and he's kind of on a struggle bus the last 3-4 weeks. Not saying he's not doing his job, because in the fourth quarter, he's causing a shit ton of pressure. And I know people don't want to hear it. Pressure. I get it. He does need to get home, but he is doing some good things in the fourth quarter. He's gassing out. Don't get me wrong. Playing 93% of snaps is absolutely ludicrous. Well, you see guys like TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, I think Crosby's playing a lot of snaps too, like 90% or something like that too as well. But Hutchinson's playing the most snaps out of those other star defensive ends. Guys like Myles Garrett's playing 73 to 77%. They're getting rest because they have help. Keep Muhammad out there for him. I know Hutch doesn't want to come off the field, but he is winded at times. And it's not just an excuse, because you're in the NFL. You're making that coin. You have to produce, or you're just going to keep getting dragged. And I'm trying to protect him. I'm trying to give reasons. I'm not making excuses, because he does need to be better. But there's reasons why he's not getting home a lot. He's playing too much. He really is. But that just goes to show you, we don't have anybody, besides Muhammad, who's having a phenomenal year. 9 sacks on the season now. He has more than Hutch. Keep him out there a little bit. But he's a 30-year-old journeyman. So you got to be careful with that too. So it's kind of a double-edged sword right there. Then safety, Daniel Thomas, 2 tackles, pass deflection. Linebacker, Derek Barnes, 2 tackles, tackle for loss, 1 pass deflection. He had an interception as well too, I believe off a tip. Defensive lineman Tyrus Wheat, 2 tackles, pass deflection, the QB hit. Defensive tackle Lee McNeil, 1 tackle for loss, 2 QB hits. He had a sack as well. Defensive end Marcus Davenport, 1 tackle and a QB hit. They had 6 tackles for loss, 5 sacks on the day, 11 pass deflections, and 11 quarterback hits. So the defense gave up a lot of yards. They gave up a lot of points. 30 points is a lot. But they did their job in spots, the defense. But they got to be better. But they finally got to the quarterback where they weren't getting to the quarterback in the last 3-4 games, whatever it was. So they got to the quarterback pretty good here. They did some different things. Some exotics, some more stunts. They brought a little more guys. They switched it up. Kelvin Shepard said he was going to do some different things, and he did. Now, kick return running back Jacob Sailors, he had five kick returns for 141 yards, 28.2 yards average. He did have a long of 30. And then wide receiver Tom Kennedy, he had 3 kick returns for 120 yards on 40 yards on average, 40 long. He looked phenomenal. He's not even really a special teams guy. He just started playing special teams the last couple years. You guys know who Tom Kennedy is. He's a fan favorite. He got a game ball. in the locker room afterwards. Those guys out there that think Tom Kennedy's a wide receiver 2, he's not. He's probably not even a wide receiver 3, if you want to be honest about it. I don't think he's better than Khalif Raymond. He's not as fast, but he's a gamer. Tom Kennedy just shows up. And like I said, Dan Campbell has said, I wish I had 53 Tom Kennedys on this football team. But he's just, you know what I mean? I wish they were all loved the game as much as him. I wish they all just, had the heart like him. But the thing that stops him is his size and his speed. But when he gets in there, he produces. He didn't catch any balls. He didn't catch any balls on Thursday, but he had a couple massive returns. That got the Lions in, nice field position where they scored. Field goal, touchdown, whatever they did. So he's just a gamer. Will he remain on the roster though when Khalif comes back? I don't know. I don't know how severe Khalif Raymond's injury is. I don't think he's on the IR. I don't remember what Khalif Raymond's injury is. Hamstring? I forget. But he probably should be on the roster because he's just a gamer. You don't want him out there as your wide receiver 2 or wide receiver, even your 3, but he does make plays. He's just one of those guys that just makes plays. But yeah, good for Tom Kennedy, man. I'm really proud. That's awesome. Punt return. Kennedy did have 1 punt return for 21 yards. Then kicker Jake Bates had 3. He was 3 for 4 on field goals, 47 long. 1 was blocked, and 5 for 5 extra points. 5 for 5. And then punter Jack Fox had 2 punts, 84 yards, 42 yards a punt. And then inside the 20 was one of them. Up next with the LA Rams, guys, I skipped the team thing. The Rams are next at 4:25 next week. We're this week coming up 5.5 favorites for the Rams. But this football game, the Cowboys game, guys, they were pretty dominant. They were pretty dominant this whole football game. If it wasn't for Brandon Aubrey, for the Dallas kicker, you'd be looking at this game. This game would have been a complete, utter blowout. We already beat these guys by 14. But we manhandled this team, I thought. Dallas did kind of make a little bit of a run at the end, though, made it interesting. But, Jahmyr Gibbs got in the end zone, Tom Kenny with the big return, and then the rest is history. I thought the defense played well, and even though they gave up yards and a couple points, they did, but they played up. But they got 3 turnovers in this football game, got to Dak Prescott 5 times, hit him a bunch of times, made plays when they needed to, and the offense put a bunch of points up, 40 plus, 44 points. Gibbs was good. He didn't rush for a ton of yards, but he got in the end zone. J-Mo, Amon-Ra did their thing. Goff was on point. They had a really nice game plan. They used everybody on the offense. It was very impressive. So that's it, guys. Now we are 8-5 going up against the LA Rams next week, like I said, or this week coming up. They're 9-3. That NFC West is insane. With the 49ers, the Seattle Seahawks, those teams keep winning. The Rams keep winning. The Rams, I think, got 10 wins. I think they're either 10-2 and 9-3. I forget. But that's a That, in my opinion, is the best football team in the NFL, are the LA Rams, even though they lost to the Panthers last week. And the Panthers are playing well. That's another team you got to look out for. The NFC is insane. That's why I'm saying 11 wins might not get you in, and that's maddening. That's maddening. I hope it gets you in because I have a feeling we're going to lose one of these games coming up. So, but this was a good showing. Back on track. We like seeing this stuff. This is what they need to do. So that's it, guys. Thanks for the video. About 25 and change. I really appreciate you guys coming in. Sorry about the late video. I thought I uploaded it, like I said, on Saturday. Didn't check it for a couple days, and I'm like, oh, man, it didn't upload. Sometimes that happens, man. Sometimes it just happens with the computer, with the phone, or whatever it is. That goes a little bit cuckoo. But I appreciate it, guys. Don't forget, big games coming up. We need to really, get our heads together and, hopefully pull a couple games out of our you-know-whats, because we got some tough ones coming up. I think the next 4 games are tough, even though we're playing the Minnesota Vikings in one of them. But those NFC North games are always a battle. And they beat us already this year once. So we got to go back to Minnesota. So let's see what happens there. But the Rams are on the ticket first. Let's beat the Rams. They win this football game, the confidence level will be through the roof. For everybody. Myself, the team, everybody. So that's it, guys. Thanks a lot for the video. Appreciate it. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button at the bottom right. Don't forget to hit the notification bell up top. Don't forget to hit the, ding, 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 all that stuff. Like, comment, share. What do you guys think? Lions, are they going to win out? Lions, beat the Cowboys. Let's go. Lions, beat the Rams. Let's beat them. Go. Boom.